So in another one of our segments, when we were talking about the blue zones, in this particular documentary, I guess the person doing the documentary went to, was that people didn't overconsume food. They were growing their own food for consumption, right? And this is one of the contributing factors to them living longer. Now, currently in our society in the West, the food that we consume is all manufactured, and it's manufactured by organizations. And there are few companies that control the monopoly. So you're not even allowed to grow your own food here in North America. How do you think this is impacting our lives?
Even if these companies are the reason, I can't even keep my houseplants alive. So like, we're kind of screwed right now. I remember I went to a rabbit hole. I mean, we're looking at a picture here. I know the viewers can't see, but maybe they will with the editing. But there's this handful of countries. Let's call them countries. Their GDP probably is countries,
monopolies.
Right?
Yeah.
They just own everything. And what's depressing is we can't grow it ourselves. And like I said, I think even if they didn't have those patents and you could, are you good? I mean, I tried growing corn and I was so excited. I got the stalks and everything. And like I did all the YouTube videos. Is that what you
started with? You started with corn?
I started with tomato.
I bought a veggiepod. If anyone knows what that is, an expensive thing to grow vegetables in.
I bet you Unilever made it.
Imagine. And I tried everything. I tried a honeydew, didn't work. I tried corn, and the corn, like when I opened it, because the cob was ready, the entire thing was worms and maggots.
Ew.
And I was like, I love pesticides, man. At that point, I'm like, now I know why they do what they do.
Gross. But you live in a suburb, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that soil is completely tainted. Like, it's not produce worthy. Yeah, like you can't
Did you buy soil?
Yeah, so I got the veggiepod now where I mix like soil, fertilizer, manure, like all that kind of stuff for the plants. Right. It just didn't work. Like some cucumbers came out. The moral of the story is, I just think growing is difficult.
It is difficult.
The
it's
real
an art.
thing is this though. Like there's a handful of companies. Aren't there antitrust laws? You're in law. Like what is that? How is this even possible?
Yeah.
Didn't just now Adobe and Figma get banned because there's a monopoly? Half of our water comes from all these companies, right?
Yeah.
They own like rivers and streams.
Wasn't there something like not that long ago where our own prime minister here in Canada was putting we're actually taxing farmers, carbon taxes. And I remember some wheat farmers were complaining. They're complaining about the carbon emission that are being produced by farms. And I'm like, there are a lot more companies that are producing carbon emissions. So I think in Saskatchewan, there were farmers that were protesting and fighting this.
No way.
Yes. So they're preventing us from wanting to grow our own food because there's a monopoly of companies that control. So I don't think we'll be allowed to grow our own foods.
They said that about weed and talk to my neighbor.
Except, did you say weed?
Yeah. They said you can't grow.
But there's a limitation.
Yeah, there's a limitation. How much do you want to eat? I'm just saying, why? The real question is
it's why. Why are they doing this? But
why are they doing this? Okay,
why
you want
do you
a chicken,
want to? So you would
defeather it, cut its skin,
rip
out the organ. You're not going to go through that. Okay, so instead,
okay, but I'm not.
But you can have your friend who is comfortable with doing it.
The conversation is not, do I want to raise chicken? The conversation is if I want to grow some tomatoes, cucumbers, and organic things in my backyard. Yeah. Will I even know how to?
That we won't
But you
know.
can, and there are community programs that you can join, and you can have community plots that you do grow your own vegetables. I think it's really, really challenging when you're in an urban area that's been built, it was built 50 years ago just for office space.
Yeah.
It was not built with green space in mind. And now we're looking for these shitty solutions that are okay, come to the corner of this shitty street and this shitty street. We're going to construct this pathetic, 20 by 20 community garden, and you get your 3 by 3 plot where you can grow 6 cucumbers.
Mm-hmm. For the raccoons to eat.
For the raccoons to come, yeah. But if you leave the city
pessimistic,
and you are lucky enough to have some sort of land, or you have family with land, I'm lucky enough to have a partner who has a family with a large property, and they grow vegetables. It was this year was all eaten by deer, but they grew enough squash that we had a Christmas dinner for 100 people, and they all
Oh
grew.
snap! I thought you were gonna say like 5 people.
No,
Whoa.
like they
You
were
just
a
grow some
massive
squash.
family.
You were like factory farming squash. Okay.
It was just it was like
And did it taste better?
heavenly. Like literally the best thing I've ever eaten. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you buy blueberries from, I don't know, they're imported from Mexico. And then
Yeah.
I go up to I used to have a family cottage. We would pick blueberries and I would eat them like from the bush. They are so much better.
It's the way that they bring
so
them.
much better.
I know with bananas, they like spray something
Yes.
so that they start ripening
Yeah.
while they're on the
Yes,
plane.
yeah.
Like,
Yes.
but again, this is
They
give and
don't
take.
mature
You want to feed
properly.
society, like,
Yeah.
It's like animals. They're
Yeah, but if you want to, why is it so expensive now? Like, you're being limited.
I think it's expensive because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 companies own hundreds of brands.
Exactly.
And they just make a supply and demand competition between each of their brands and drive up the price.
I don't know. I'm like I remember when I first saw the price of a whole chicken, I did not believe it in a good way. Like I'm like, how? You go see it's like a whole chicken for $6. I'm like, wait. You
Right.
raised a chicklet, fed it, grew it, did whatever you had to do, processed it, and apparently they're shoving chemicals and hormones. That's money, right? They're putting money into it. They're feeding it. Then they transport it. And there's all these laborers working. They transport it. And then they sell it to a company who sells it to a company who sells it to a company who turns it for a profit. It's only $6. That kind of blew my mind. I'm like, what
When
the
was
hell?
the last time you grocery shopped? I need to know
Last
where
week?
where
I
you
will
found a whole
say-
chicken for $6.
Costco is still $7.99.
Oh, okay.
The longer the supply chain,
Yeah, they're chicken.
the longer the supply chain, the cheaper the product can be.
Yeah.
Because the time it takes to grow that chicken, because it's pumped with hormones and it doesn't see the light of day,
Yeah.
their life is like 3 months or like whatever.
Oh, they grow fast? I was always
Yeah,
wondering
like
how long
they're if you see them while they're alive, they don't look like chickens.
Now
They
I'm
have
gonna
like
stop
they have
eating
like 3 legs. They're too big. Like they're not chicken like. They're really, really sad to look at. And so the longer the supply chain is, the less you're putting the consumer in front of the actual animal that they're eating, the less they think about the animal that they're eating. And I'm not a vegan. I just know. And I feel like I should be after this
factory
comment.
farming.
And they are so f***ing real. It is heartbreaking. Where you see like they're transported regardless of the weather. They're frozen to the side of the truck that they're being driven down the 401 on.
Yeah, but how do you
Like
feed
pigs are fleeing from these trucks. That's the other question. How do you feed people?
Let's be real. Like,
And then that's when Monsanto
Yeah, but-
comes in, where they patent these seeds that they can grow like these massive crops of
but that's
product
what I'm
to
saying. Like,
feed
let me
these
play
people.
evil. Let me be evil. Let's say, they patented these seeds that produce some ridiculous yield. I think it's the term yield.
Yield.
Okay, but like, what if they put the work and the research in to find how to make that seed that creates
Why do you
that
even
yield?
need to patent?
But
why,
they,
why
yeah,
do you even need
you
to
shouldn't
patent?
have to
Because
patent
that's what
something
makes the
that is
world go round,
required
right?
to
Yeah,
survive.
okay. So then
They
why
want
are
money.
there so many starving people in the world?
That I can't explain, but I'm just
Right?
talking about
Because they can't sell to those countries. So for me, like that, the control and having this monopoly on food is it's a necessity.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
shouldn't. It
And it's
shouldn't
like
be.
it's like water
about,
too.
Yeah.
Look.
Water's a necessity too.
we could say they're evil. I grab somebody from the 20s, okay, and throw them in. What's your favorite grocery store? What's your favorite?
I shop at.
Fortino's. Yeah, I like Fortino's. It's pretty okay. Throw them in a Fortino's, okay? They will think they're in heaven. They will be like, wait, I'm getting pineapples
I'm gonna
in
stop.
this.
They would not think they're in heaven. They're gonna be like, "What the f- is all this plastic?
Yeah.
What is this shit that's on
why
my
does
food?
it-
Why
why
is
does
it
it taste
discolored?
like
You think they're gonna say, what
Why
is
is
this plastic?
this-
Like, wow, there's no bugs in your thing because it's covered by this protective seal.
Yeah,
No,
but guess what?
and
All you
wait,
have to do
I
is
don't
pick
have to-
off the bug. Like, come on.
They'll
telling
say
you.
there are no bugs in it because it's not real food.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you guys, look, for all the negative all this is really just fueled by the fact that that's just a free market, and that unfortunately it's not so free according to.
This is the magic of marketing.
You've been quiet on this topic.
Well, it's just big business, right? They've got to shorten the lifespan of however long it takes for that chicken to grow to be harvestable. It's all about harvestable duration, right? The shorter it is, the more profit they can make, the more product they can turn over. Period. The more money they can show to their investors.
Have you guys ever tried to buy like from a farm, like a local farm,
Yeah.
chickens and eggs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
It's
and
great.
unfortunately, you can only do that in this country. Well, here in Ontario, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
We always go just up past Caledon. Fabulous farm, and we buy. And you know what's ironic? sometimes the produce is cheaper than at the Fortino's.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I bought
You're
organic
paying for
chickens and stuff,
packaging. You're
yeah.
paying for simplicity half the time. I mean, I've definitely bought more expensive product from like farm to table, but
And let's see how long before these monopolies put them
No, I'm
out
saying
of
you
business.
vote with your dollar, right? At the end of the day, you vote. We can talk all this shit. All you have to do is when you just look at the packaging, and if you see any of these 6, 7, whatever,
and
companies,
you will.
you dip.
You
You
will.
say, I'm
Yeah.
not voting. I'm going to give my dollar to someone else.
that just makes me think of I saw a TikTok once of this, like maybe a month or two ago, of someone going into Shoppers, or maybe it was in the States, maybe it was like Rexall, or is that
Yeah,
American?
Rexall, yeah.
And he was like, let's follow the trail back to the one or two companies. And he went through the entire shampoo section. There was like, I'm going to say like 200 products.
And it was all...
2 of those 200 products came up that they weren't owned by one of the major monopoly companies that produce like Unilever. or
This
stuff.
stuff blows
And
my mind.
not to like bash
then-
some of these companies, because opportunity presents itself. Fuck, you might as well run with it. But this is what we have to
Isn't that
deal
their
with
job, though?
now.
Half these are
That
public
is
companies,
their
right?
job.
So
we
it
are
is
in a
their
capitalist
job.
society.
Unless
It
the
is their,
government
it
says
is their
no.
job. Exactly.
Yeah, but don't you think...
They're doing that.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're lobbying the government in order to influence what they do.
Yeah.
The government
And how they lobby
rules.
with our dollars that
Yeah.
we give them.
So then
Magic with marketing.
how do we beat them? Do we have a choice? You said next time I go to the
Just
grocery
vote with
store.
your dollar. How do you do them? Vote
you
with your dollar.
become a
government
conscious
intervention.
consumer.
But
Yeah.
if 99.9% of the products and things we consume are owned by these 6 companies, how do you?
Boycott, man.
So
People won't, because once again, you get back to the lifestyle here. It's all about convenience.
Yeah.
And,
The choices we're making.
and
so
the
we have no
choices.
choice.
Essentially, that's correct, because our lifestyle dictates that we buy these ready-made things, easy to prepare.
Yeah.
How many times have I bought, what do they call them, a split chicken, where it's already marinated? It's the chicken that's kind of laid out, and it's piri or Greek or
love
whatever.
that, right.
Boom, into the oven, because
It gives
you're
you the
But that's our
feeling of a
choice.
home cooked meal, but it's already prepped for you.
There could be innovation. For example, how is there not a company that says, hey, you hate these 6 companies, you hate these 6 companies, you hate these 6 companies, you guys live within a 30-kilometer radius? Well, guess what? You pool your money, I'm going to drive, this company's going to drive 8 hours up north. You guys are going to split the cow in 8 pieces. You're getting a fresh cow from this farm.
There are
this
companies
guy,
like
his
that.
name is Tinku, and he lives, you can do all that.
There are companies.
There are companies like that, but they're competing for the marketing space against these companies
Yeah.
that have billions and billions and billions of dollars.
I'm not saying it's an easy fight, but I'm saying at some point you can vote. Like, you can vote with your dollar. That's
So
as far
then-
as you can go.
So you are saying
Not
that
even
it is on the
pharmacists.
consumer side of things, where you have to vote and you have to choose. So
It's
then
the
you
consumer and
fucking
government. So
go.
government
Well,
is
you,
one.
the
you
government-
voted by the lifestyle that you live.
Yeah.
More than anything else. That's what drives your purchasing decisions. I mean, we would all love to grind our own bread and make that. Christ, it tastes better than anything.
My
used to have-
friend,
I had a bread
my
making
friend
phase,
got a
but we
butter
don't,
maker for
because
Christmas. I'm like,
the
that's a bit too
lifestyle we
much.
choose to live.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? We all want to have $600 phone plans for the family.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? We all want to have $300 internet packages for the latest fiber bullshit. Right? And that costs money. And what does that mean? It means you have less time to go out and do things that don't generate the income to sustain high cost of living. And where you gain that essentially where you gain that daily time is in meal preparation.
It's so
Right?
true. My wife,
Especially when
and
you
I,
have kids. Especially when you have kids, you want to try and put as nutritious a meal together as possible within the time that you have,
Right.
and the lifestyle that you live. Right.
But it's these companies that we work for that dictate the time that you have.
Right.
And then they create the products that you have to buy to sustain
right.
your shitty life that they
Yep.
have created for you. And you've been like brainwashed into
Yep.
this
I just don't think
way
they're
of
inherently
life.
evil. Like, a part of me, I just don't think
You know how you
they're
vote?
inherently
You know how you,
It's
if you
such
really
a
want to
complex
vote,
decision,
you vote
or-
with your feet and you move to a blue zone.
That's
I was
what
just
I was
going to
gonna
say,
That's it.
blue
That's
zones
what I'm gonna
probably
say.
don't have these
And I'll tell
complex
you what,
issues.
very few people
We'll do that.
will have the cojones to do that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. The don't complain, compete. You ever heard that phrase? Don't complain, compete. Like, if we're gonna complain, but we're not gonna do anything about it, then who cares?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Because the last time I read about Monsanto like patenting a seed there was an uproar, and I'm making this, like, I'm not making this up, and I'm not factual. So
You're
like
not
take
sure,
this with
yeah.
a grain of salt. Hopefully that salt isn't patented. I know that there are some regulations. Like, you can't just come in and be like, I've created a new food and now I own this food and you have to pay me royalties for every time you plant it. I know there are certain seeds or certain crops that Monsanto did own at one point. I don't know if they've been expired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they do.
Yeah.
Because like patents do expire.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the regulations are in terms of patenting food.
It's very interesting because
it
broccoli is
is-
man-made. You guys know that?
I did not know that.
Broccoli is not natural. It doesn't exist.
Interesting.
It's
Same
just
with
like a
Douglas
deity.
fir for Christmas trees.
What?
Man-made.
Wait, don't tell me Santa's man-made.
Santa is a man. Santa is a man.
He's a boss man. He has a boss.
So for those watching, please comment below and let us know your thoughts. Are you concerned that our food supply in North America or wherever you are, that it's controlled by basically 6 companies? And what are you willing to do about it?
Yeah.